Oh, there we go. Hello, everybody. What's going on? Let's see. It's a little late. I have about 30 minutes. So I just want to see what is interesting right now. Did I see? Ooh, distraction scam. What is this all about? Let's see. Distraction scam targeting elderly residents in La Mirada. If you guys don't know, La Mirada is in California. Making out with $50,000 worth of valuables. Okay, very interesting. Let's see. Here's the recap. Allison Kim, 78 years old, was distracted by a woman while two others burglarized her house, stealing $50,000 worth of valuables. Okay. Let's see. LA Orange County Sheriff Department is investigating a similar distraction scams targeting seniors across Southern California. Interesting. So let's see what happened. Let's see. Allison Kim, 78, was out gardening outside her La Mirada home when a woman came up to her and began asking questions, okay, keeping her distracted. Meanwhile, while two other women quietly slipped through the side gate into the house. See, Kim said that they were very good, very organized. They knew where to go, they knew what to take, they knew how to hide it, they knew what was valuable, what wasn't valuable. They took all the right stuff. She seems pretty positive. Kim said the woman made off with high-end purses like LV and Chanel, expensive jewelry, cash totaling around $50,000. Okay, very interesting. So I'm trying to see here. She's out there, she's gardening. Lady walks up to her, starts asking her, I don't know, where's the target? And then her friends go through the side gate and basically take everything. This is why, at least when I was growing up, I mean, she's 78, so she should know this. Because when I was growing up, I was told not to talk to anybody outside. And we're always very cautious outside. So I don't know. Um, what do you guys think about this story? You're just out there, you're gardening, someone talks to you, other people go into your house, grab your stuff, and then run off. It makes me feel it makes me feel like this could happen to anyone one day, because right now, I don't know if you guys know, what's been blowing up a lot is these like Facebook marketplace kind of transactions. I know I get sent on a lot of these missions. My wife basically is on like Facebook marketplace or whatever, and she's like, hey, I need you to go to this place. And I got this, I don't know, pogo stick for $5, and I need you to drive like 30 minutes to go get it. And usually you go over there and you kind of like look around and you kind of like see what stuff they have. So I feel like there's a good chance that this lady met these people before, at least someone that she knows, right? I could totally see that, because she's saying that they knew. Here's the thing about burglarizing, I guess, a random house is that you could spend a lot of time going into random rooms, searching for random things that you don't know. She's saying that they knew exactly where to go and what she had, and they took all the good stuff. Unless we're getting a simmered down version of the story. If you were there in real life, maybe they were there for a very long time. I think that's one thing that's missing in the story. This news story is the how long does she think that they were there? Because that's not hard to figure out. They had security cameras, and because if it's like 10 minutes, yeah, then that if it's 10 minutes, that means they've been to they've seen, they know exactly where to go. But if it's like, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's a long time. Uh, that means they didn't know what they were doing inside your house, and they just randomly they just got lucky. Because I've this makes me think of that estate sale that I went to a while back, where an estate sale is basically when someone passes away, and someone usually hires a company, and they come and they just go into your house, and they try to sell everything, so everything is out there. And this estate sale was huge, and there was tons of stuff, but it was a lot of junk. And just think about how much junk do you have in your house, and you gotta imagine yourself as a burglar going into some random house, right? And you don't know where to go. You know what I mean? You don't know where to go, and you don't know when the person's gonna come back inside or what's going on. You have limited amount of time. You just grab what you can and get out of there, right? So the fact that she said that they made out with $50,000 worth of jewelry and purses and whatnot makes me feel like they knew to target her, and they knew where to go. There's a good chance that they were watching her for a very long time. This happened to my buddy uh, a while ago, where she said, I'm trying to get the exact story together. They said, well, she drives a very nice car for her neighborhood. I'll say that, right? So she sticks out. And she said one day she went out to go get something to eat or something. So she left, and someone came to her place, basically through the side window, came inside, unlocked the front door so their friends can go inside. They went inside, and then they just looted her, right? And I think they got off with a lot of stuff. I don't want to say the dollar amount because but I'll just say it's a lot. And they ran out through the back, and then they got a getaway car and left. And then later on, when she got back home, she realized what happened. She called the police, whatever. But then she also has cameras everywhere. And in when she was going back through her cameras, she noticed that that car has been driving, like, she went way back. She was, because, like, literally she was paranoid, and I was telling her, "Hey, if they went to your place one time and they noticed that you had such nice stuff, they're gonna come back again because that was pretty easy, you know? Like, they're gonna come back. You should actually move all your valuables out of that house, or you gotta do something because they're gonna come back because they didn't get everything." Or there's no way for them to grab everything. They have limited time, but they're gonna come back. So you should move all your stuff out of of that house, at least anything that you think that's valuable. And then, anyways, she went back. She checked the camera footage, and she noticed that that car was actually driving around her neighborhood a week prior. Like, they were casing the neighborhood out. And I was telling her, like, dude, you stick out in your neighborhood because your car alone is like, it doesn't belong in your neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, so I was telling her, you need to, like, move or do something because she stuck out like a sore thumb in that neighborhood. I'm in California. I'll just say some quick, I guess, quick numbers. In her area, let's say the average house was around like 500,000, 600,000. And if you're listening to this outside of California, you're gonna be like, what? But in California, $600,000 house is very cheap, right? And her car by itself was around close to 100 already. So just kind of give you the comparison of like what kind of neighborhood that she was in. and her car stood out. I was like, "Why do you have this car in this neighborhood?" And she was like, "Well, basically, she was like given this car, and it was." Yeah, I was like, "You need to get rid of that car." Because she stood out so bad. Every time I go to her neighborhood, I feel sketchy because I don't like being in her house with her car in her driveway. Like, it she stuck out like crazy. But, yeah, I do feel bad about this lady. It makes you wonder, though, like, when you get older, because like I said in the beginning of this, I was taught not to talk to strangers, and especially when you're outside and stuff, like, be very careful, someone could snatch you. And maybe that's a generational thing because this lady is 78. She's in the generation where they just let everyone go, out. There's people that romanticize about the time where parents just let their kids go. Well, back then, kids also got touched a lot. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's why in this current generation, now that we have kids, we kind of like watch them with like hawks. That's what happened. You know what I mean? Like the news of all that stuff happening made me paranoid, or at least a lot of people from my generation paranoid, and we don't let our kids out. That's basically why you don't see kids out as much anymore. While like the older generation, just like, whoa, you just go and get get diddled, whatever. Um, So yeah, I'm a little surprised, or maybe guess not surprised that this lady, 78 years old, was talking to random strangers in her front yard. But then again, they chose her. They targeted her perfectly because I'm pretty sure they're like, oh, send the females. What do you think? They're harmless. It kind of reminds me also of like the gypsies, the ones that are like on the side of the roads, usually like begging for change. They're always the ladies, and they always have the kids, you know? Kids can't go past the yard. That's literally the modern day, right? But I remember at least when I was growing up and when my parents were growing up, it was like, "Go." And I remember I explored all kinds of neighborhoods and went all over the place, causing all kinds of trouble. But at the same time, you hear back then on the news was big, was like kids getting abducted, missing kids on milk cartons, and you know, all the other stuff that goes with unsupervision. You know what I mean? And that's what I grew up with, and then I know a lot of like my friends grew up like that, where like there's like the razor blades in the park, that thing, the Halloween candy stuff. I mean, that's still a thing now, but I don't feel like that's that big anymore. I don't see those. You still see those stories of like the razor blades and apples? But by the way, I never got an apple during Halloween. I don't so, I mean, I feel like already if you got an apple during Halloween, did you guys ever hear this story? This story of like razor blades inside, like people would hand out apples during Halloween, and there would be a razor blade inside. So when you bite the apple, like it'll mess you up. I never got an apple during Halloween, but I heard that was a story. Like, don't take anybody's fruits. you know, it had to be sealed. But you know what's crazy about the sealed candy these days? I was talking to my wife about this because she has a sealer, a repackaged sealer, and I was like, it's crazy that what you have now, what access to now that's regular, and I guess a lot of people, I guess, have the resealer for chips. Like you get a bag of chips, you open it, and then you can reseal it, and it just remelts the plastic. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Technically, if you really wanted to, you can open those up, the whatever candy, put whatever you want in them, and then reseal them and hand them out for Halloween. I don't know. That's crazy. Anyways, as I said earlier, I gotta get going. I gotta pick up my kid from an event. Oh, pixie sticks. Okay, one last thing before I go. I've mentioned this a lot, but i- in the 90s, right, there was a lot of like substance use. I don't know if you really watched the movies back then. If you watch RoboCop now, when I was a kid, I didn't realize RoboCop was an R-rated movie. But anyways, there was a lot of substance use back in like the 90s movies. And who who did the thing with the pixie sticks where you you line them up, you like pour the powder out, and you like I remember my cousin did that one time, and his I forgot how old we were, where he did that. He did the pixie sticks, and he like upped his nose, and then his nose started bleeding, and then that was like, oh, we're not doing that. All right, that's it. You brought up pixie sticks, and when I think of pixie sticks, I think of my cousin and his bleeding nose, and that was my life lesson to never do that. All right, see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out.